Human life is a very precious life. Everybody knows that to be born as a human being is uh, it's a miracle of nature, or it's a design of nature to see to it that human beings they take control of the things in the sense that they protect themselves, they prosper, they enjoy life, and they also help all the other creatures as much as possible to enjoy their own kinds of lives. And if that is done by human beings together, humanity in totality, then the meaning of being a human gets justified to a great extent. I, as a student of literature, culture, civilization, and a citizen who wants to have this world very peaceful, very creative, very constructive, very enjoyable, I would suggest that certain things have to be done. Certain things have to be done not for some people's vested interests, but some things have to be done for the welfare of the mankind. Exceptions apart, because in every society, in all the ages, it has been seen that you have devils as well, satans as well, bad elements as well, and they are not willing to get reformed. They don't want to get reformed. You have, see, you talk about idealism, that this can be done, that can be done, but look back into the history. Look back through the thousands of years that have gone by, and you see that in every age, in the ancient time, in the remote ancient time, in the mid ancient time, in the last phase of the ancient time, you have had philosophers, thinkers, writers, scholars, people, cultured people, and they have expressed in one way or the other that how life has been difficult, how challenges have been mounting, how some people who are good get overwhelmed by the presence of majority of the people, or most of the people, or overwhelming number of people in the negative direction. So this is the problem. It's a problematic. It's a problem to continue with the same kind of life where crimes are committed, murders are committed, atrocities are committed, and the people live a crippled life. Wherever you live in America, you see that countries, the world has been divided into countries, and countries have different systems of governance. Countries have different levels of economy, and different sets of ideologies and all that. But you see, nowhere people are living in a nice way. Everywhere you have conflicts, you have crimes committed, you have corruption, you have all kinds of irregularities committed, and more or less. So, in some places, in some countries, in some poor countries, poverty goes on increasing because corruption is, you can say, always at its height. The people who are vocal, the people who can organize, the people who can be criminalized, and all classes of people, uh, you can say, getting influenced by the desire to have fast money that comes, you can say, in oats, and money comes without any effort. Money comes through physical power, abuse or misuse, corruption, and governmental power you misuse. So you become a minister after a lot of a struggle, you say. And then once you become, then you don't look back to your past, how pitiable your condition was economically, and how you wanted to have some sort of economic soundness so that you could live nicely. And now that you are in power and you can do things for other people who have been as poor as you had been before you became the minister, you became the officer, you became one of the participants in the power sale. but you want to amass money for yourself and all. So this is not all right. You can't have ever a society, you can't have ever the global condition when everybody is equally equipped, equally intelligent, equally privileged. It can't be. But at least one thing can be done, that people who are handicapped and people physically, mentally disbalanced, means all sorts of impairments imposed upon them as if by nature or by circumstances, such people should live and live decently. Decently, when I say, I make use of the word decently, I mean that the basic needs must be fulfilled. They must not die of hunger. They must not shiver in the winter. They must not get burnt because of the scorching rays. They should have the minimum facilities given to them. And then those who are capable, those who are well equipped, intelligent, laborious enough, industrious, certainly these people will have an advantage in life. So I began with the title, is Ram Rajya, or isn't thinking of establishing Ram Rajya is like making castles in the air. So my idea has been this, that we talk about idealisms, we talk about good conditions, perfect conditions. Perfection can't be translated into realities in this mortal world, because see, you have so many aberrations by nature. People talk about men and women, their equality or their rights, and women being tortured or women being discriminated against, or they being dominated by males. So you have all kinds of slogans, all kinds of catchy slogans, but very little substantial happens, and that will happen. Everything will happen if humanity is honored, if human values are honored. If human values are honored, and those who violate human values, if they are, you can say, corrected, and they are brought to justice, they are given opportunities to, you can say, come to the attitude of honoring human values, and believing and practicing this theory, live and let live, that you live the best way you can, because nature has conferred on you the strength, the capabilities. Nature has also imposed on you limitations. So all human beings have to live within the limitations, and using the capabilities that they have got by nature or by birth or whatever. It is therefore very essential to think of good societies everywhere. Why not all the countries in the world? Why only a few countries? All the countries, all societies in the world, they should live peacefully. They should live happily. And when I say peacefully, happily, then again they are conditioned. When people speak about freedom, you can't speak about absolute freedom, because freedom in absoluteness is impossibility. But freedom, conditioned freedom, and freedom that is legally enforced, and freedom that is given to everybody equally, but it depends on the people. How do they utilize the freedom? I have got the freedom to study, to read books. I have got the freedom to increase my knowledge, scholarship, to be better. And others might be at competition with me. They might compete with me. They might read better than I. I have the habit of reading. So there you go. See the Olympics and all that, games and sports, where you have to compete with your competitors in front of the people. You have, earlier you didn't have cameras, you didn't have video cameras, you didn't have technologies that are available these days. But then you had people around, and they could be watchers, they could be guards, they could be witnessing how things went on, and if there was any unfair means, you can say, adopted or resorted to. And if that was observed, that was seen, then the violators or the breakers of rules and regulations, they would be disqualified, and they would be asked to get out of the sports arena, or competitive, you can say, villages, or competitive opportunities. Well, I want to tell everybody, including myself, because when I am speaking to people, I am speaking to myself. In fact, I have spoken to myself so many times mentally, and I have spoken to myself aloud. I have thought aloud what I should be speaking, what is all right, what is all right for me, what is all right for others. It is therefore essential for all societies in the world, and I have written that sensible people, because all people are not equally sensible, all people are not equally far-sighted. It's a fact of life, and it can't be. It has never been. It is not happening. It will never be, because it's a world of varieties. But then we have to accept the what you call common programs, the common deliberations. Oh, this is not possible, and this is negative, this is positive, this is more positive, this is most positive, but to achieve the most positive is very difficult. So let us start with the minimum, that first we become literate, and then we become more literate, and then we become educated, then we become more educated, and then we become highly educated. So gradually, means there has to be evolutionary sort of progress, that we start with the scratches, and then we improve upon the scratches, and we have something smooth and smoother, and then we go on building on the basis. So the main point is that how to effect, how to achieve anything that is similar to civilization, that people are civilized. You say freedom. What does it mean? Does it mean that if I want to enjoy freedom, I can sleep on the road, or I can shout on the road, I can shout at the neighbor's window, I can do anything? No. Freedom means you live, but you have to live under restraints. You live and let others live. You respect yourself, and you'll be respected. I mean, you have so many nuances of these sayings, these maxims, these proverbs, that respect yourself and you get respected. Live and let live. So, how do you live and how do you let live? You live and you suffer also. You want to do something at a certain time, and that time is not conducive to your getting into that act which you want to get into. So you have to wait for another time. That's a kind of freedom. You study, you sleep, you work in your field, you move along the road, you go out and you sing, but you sing in such a way that you please yourself. If you suppose do sing walking, or you walk also, you sing also. You sing and entertain yourself, but you don't disturb others. So many points and counterpoints, so many arguments and counter arguments are there, but certain things can be done. Take the example of India, the country that I have been born in, and the country that I have lived so far. I have not been outside except for a neighboring country, Nepal, because in Kathmandu I stayed for years and years, and I taught there at the university, university, in fact, and I also taught at different colleges, including the most prestigious college of Kathmandu, French-based college. I interacted with people. I met scholars who were there, and I had conversations with them. I learned from them. I also gave back to my juniors as much as I could. I enlightened my students to the level that my capacity permitted, and hundreds of students have been admirers of mine, and they have spoken very nice of me. They have spoken in my face, and they have spoken behind me, and I have enlarged what sort of praises they have given me, what sort of appreciation they have had for me, and do I deserve? And on reflection, I feel that, well, to a great extent, I have worked fairly, and I have not been partial, I have not been dishonest in my duty, and I have done, if not excellently well, then well, I have done well. That satisfaction. So, this that if you want to have peace in life, if you want to have regularity in life, if you want to have prosperity, if you want to have a stress-free life, then don't do corruption. Because if you indulge in corruption, you are always in tension. Your corruption may be out. you may be exposed that you have amassed money, or you have not only amassed money, you have done other things, irregular things. You have exploited somebody in a bad way, and you are guilty. Your conscience is guilty, so you are not in mental order. You are not in mental balance. You don't feel at peace with yourself because all the time you feel that, well, you committed something wrong. All of us commit mistakes. All of us commit errors. All of us get into aberrations. But then the moment we get to know that this is not all right, then we should not try to repeat that, and we should apologize, or we should make up for the bad things we have done by doing good things. If I have harmed people and I have realized about me being the cause of other people's harm, then I should mend my ways. Then I should see to it that those I harmed, I should turn back to them, and I should, even indirectly, if they know that I have harmed them, then I should apologize, and I should ask them what punishment they want me to go through. Or if they excuse me, and if they hear me telling them that, well, now I am improved, I have decided to expiate for whatever lapses I indulged in, whatever wrong I may have done to you. So please give me a chance to rectify and to ameliorate your, you can say, hurt sentiments or whatever. And that is one way. So, as an examiner, as a teacher, you are an examiner, you take bribe and you take money, and then you give marks, inflated marks to those who don't deserve. And those who deserve, and they don't pay you, and they don't even know. And they are not concerned about who the examiners are because they have worked well, they have answered the papers, and they just wait for the results without bothering about who could be the examiners, where the papers might have gone. And you do justice as an examiner, and you live in peace. And whatever salary you earn, whatever money you earn through your labor, and that you try to be living within. And this is good. And at the administration level, you see, governments are formed, but most of the governments in the world, if I say, and I am being modest at that, that I must say because that is the truth. The people who are in the government, governance, in governmental bodies, organizations, business, everywhere, you have people, they make money for the sake of making money. They even forget the relationship. Brothers forget brothers. Parents become corrupt, and they give their children opportunities of indulgence by giving them money, excessive amount of money, and they become bad. They become lecherous, mischievous. They become sentences, and they spoil their lives. How can society, and they even commit crimes, heinous crimes, thinking that they have lots of money, and police people could be bought, administration could be bought, governmental ministers could be bought, and if you have money enough, you can do anything. No, you can't have civilized life, you can't have good society. So Rama Rajya is a concept. Mahatma Gandhi talked a lot about that. Vinoba Bhave also talked a lot about that. And all these personalities are known. And we all have some knowledge of the epics of ours, the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. And the Ramayana is more idealized. In Mahabharata, you have lots of conspiracies, lots of bad doings by relatives, by family members. But in the Ramayana, which is the story of Ram, he is the Maryada Purushottam. He never deviates from idealism. He never deviates from what is valued at the social level, at the soul level, at the heart level. So he's a great brother, he's a great son, he's a great husband, but many people say that he was not a great husband because he left Sita, his consort, in problems because some people leveled some charges, baseless and foolish charges. Because who can know your wife better than you? And somebody accusing Sita of having some sort of this, some sort of allowance during her post sojourn in Sri Lanka or Lanka or Sotbatika and all that. So Ram Rajya is a concept, idealism. It's not possible. It's suppose it can't be. But then this can be. that if the rulers are conscientious, if they are honest, if they are ready to sacrifice even their lives for the maintenance of law and order, for the preservation of peace, for the continuity of the administration of justice, then there can be. Means bad elements have to be given chances to be good elements, to reform, to improve, and they have to be given all sorts of persuasive, you can say what you call, aids, helps, that it is good for them only to come back to regularity, to come back to the valued life, to come back to the ethical life. And ethics again, not in exaggerated sense. This is the ethic that you don't cheat others. And if you have cheated, just be frank enough to accept that and apologize and make up for that cheating. Or you uncheat that person, you return the money that you had by way of cheating a person that way. So we can't be 100% good if we can't be. I don't know whether it is possible or not, but most of the people say not possible that you are 100% neat and clean and all. Okay, not 100%, but even 50% to 60% neatness, cleanliness in behavior, in thinking, and that can do a lot. That can make our society much better. We can have better life. See, we talk about law and order, policing, police stations everywhere. We have night patrolling, and then people are inside the house and they have 4 5 gates before they go to their inner house. And if earthquakes take place or some natural calamities and you have to get out, you have to unlock all the gates, which by the time you do all that, everything is gone. You are already buried under the ground if devastating earthquake. So why do we have to have so many gates? Why are we so much alarmed about theft and crimes to be committed against us? It is because criminals are not punished. Criminals are not nipped in the bud. When a person starts thinking of being a criminal or thinking of making a crime as a career, at that very time that person has to be stopped. That person has to be detained. And so criminals have to be handled in a just manner. Those who want to be criminals, they should be punished so that other people don't take what you call lessons, negative lessons that okay, as a criminal or as criminals, you can prosper in life, you can live comfortable material life, and if you are not a criminal, you can't have anything. Then civility will be nowhere to be seen. You will remain in the jungle anytime you can prey on another weaker, suppose human being or animal, or you get preyed by the stronger one. So what they call jungle raj, where you don't have administration, you don't have fair play, you don't have any sense of justice, and people live precariously. You live by guns, you die by guns. You bark as dogs, and you get, you can say, overbarked by other dogs. You get seated by medical, you can say, practitioners, and the legal practitioners cheat the medical practitioners. The legal practitioners get cheated by the ruling judges or other, you can say, organs of judiciary. So if we go on cheating one another, there would be a vicious circle. So no cheating, no commission of crimes, no smuggling, no corruption. When I say no smuggling, then I mean that smuggling, if it exists, but it is negligible. Corruption exists, it is negligible. It's not that shocking. It's not that makes your life crippled and suffocated. So Rama Rajya means a good state of affairs, a state, a society where people live peacefully, like brothers and sisters, like parents and children, or like members of society. You don't have to name relations, or just you are citizens and you live. You don't have fear of losing because you are not being bad yourself to cause losses to others. If you don't cause losses to others, at least you think that, well, I have never caused losses to others, so why should others cause losses to me? At least this confidence you have. And you go out for a walk, you go out of your town to visit another town, you go out on a tour in another country, and you are not very much anxious about the safety of property at home. When you go out to travel, you are not over anxious about your safety that criminals may kill you, they may rob you of your money, they may disturb you, and they may spoil your pleasure that you want to have on your trips or tours outside. So uh, it is a sense of justice, as Plato said, that only the people who are good consciences should be rulers. He meant that because you have to have a system. So in that system, let the best people be at the helm. Let the best people be at the center. If the best people are at the center, then things are in order, and society lives. You can't live ideally because you have natural calamities. No, you have all the facilities available. You have all the standbys, you have all the precautions taken, you have technologies, you have money, you have matters, you have resources, you have everything, but you don't have control over natural calamities. And for 5 to 6 minutes, you have earthquake of devastating, suppose you can say Richter scale, and everything is gone. Everything is gone that we can't rule out. That can happen anytime, and even if you are the best people in a society, even if you are in the best country of the world, natural calamities can spoil everything, and you can get back to rags again from riches. You can get back to the status of primitive people because everything is gone. So I'm not including these things. I'm including the possibilities that what we can do as people, as human beings. We have to live, and if we have to live peacefully, happily, and again in the condition, happily means you can't be all the time happy. You'll have moments of depression, moments of crisis, moments of tension you'll have, but manageable. When life is manageable, times come, moments come, situations come, days come when we suffer, we fall sick, we have to take medicine, we have to take food that suits us. So all these things have to be incorporated in our mind. That these things are part of life. We can't have absolute happiness. We can't have absolute peace. And at times we get disturbed, but to a limit. But when criminals are free, the murderers are free, they are on a loose. Corrupt people they enjoy, and the honest people they you can say they are controlled and crashed and battered, and they live as if they live in open prisons. They live in their own houses, but they never know when bad people would attack their houses and take away everything that they have collected through labor and all. So the idea is that good governance, and good governance is the key to good civilized life for everybody. As you work, as much you work, as much meritorious you are, you will get the reward. And those who are less meritorious or weaker, they can't hope, or they should not be jealous of those who are. Because if I can't run even 5 kilometers, suppose in 3 hours, then how can I think of competing at the Olympics? But I must have the minimum I should live. Even if I can't compete, even if I don't have much, even if I don't have good dresses, at least I have clothing as much as I protect my body from heat and from cold. I have food that sustains my body, that nourishes my body. I walk, and I walk in public transport. If I don't have my own car, I can walk in public transport and without any fear, without much discomfort. I don't have to travel in crowded buses because you have in a bus, if you have 20 seats, then only 20 people should be allowed to travel. Not that 20 seats are available and you have 100 people, and people standing, being crushed, and very unpleasant conditions you can see during your movement from one place to another. No. So a sense of fairness has to be present all the time in everyone, whether you are teachers or engineers or doctors or sweepers or cleaners or cobblers or gardeners or administrators or ministers, at every level, there has to be the implementation of the rule of law. The laws have to be equal for everybody. You can't be lawmakers, and you can't become the first lawbreakers. And this is what is the reality. In most of the developing and poor countries, and the so-called lawmakers are the murderers, former murderers, former thieves, former smugglers, former hooligans, and they have a nexus with the so-called good people also, and because the good people say that they can't win elections unless they have the support of these criminals and all that. No, you have to be exclusive. You can't include the criminals if you want to have a society, a progressive society, a good society, a society where people live peacefully. The criminals have to be, you can say, kept at bay. Corrupt people have to be punished so that other people don't become corrupt. Criminals have to be punished so that those who are not criminals now, they think twice before even thinking of getting into the world of crimes. If that happens, then there is a possibility. Otherwise, simply having seminars and symposia, the Chief Justice talking about the Indian education system having gone to the dogs, and people don't have any sense of education, they don't know anything, they have certificates, then what do? As the Chief Justice of India, or as the, you can say, as the judges of India, of different courts, as lawyers, as what do? Why don't you tell that, see, this is happening? You have mushroom growth in the number of schools and colleges, and all run on ads. You have colorful ads of co-education, and the beautiful girls and the beautiful women, they are fronted, and the college gets admissions also because of this. Oh, this college has co-education, you are beautiful girls, and you are allowed to wear any kind of dress, and you can have all kinds of liberties, and then you spoil. You know, studying, reading, having knowledge is not that easy. You need concentration. You need restraint. You have to do back breathing labor. Only then you can be a brilliant engineer, a brilliant doctor. You can't be an economist of honesty unless you have had a regular life, a good life. Unless you live on principles, unless you live on values, you can't do anything for yourself or for your society. It is therefore the establishment of fair rule, the establishment of the rule of laws, the establishment of impartiality as a culture, and the work culture. The worst people, they bribe and then they get the jobs. And the meritorious ones, they live outside. How can any society think of being prosperous, being peaceful, being happy? It can't ever be. So Rama Rajya, in its you can say totality, not possible, or if it is possible, but we can have some semblance of good administration, good governance, and we can have crimes now and then, but not of the horrible nature, not of the heinous nature, because criminals will be afraid of, you can say, going into heinous crimes. And corrupt people would be afraid of indulging in corruption. Teachers, invigilators, and examiners, they'd be afraid of being dishonest because they would be caught, exposed. So there has to be fear, positive fear, fear of the rule of law, fear of safeguarding one's honesty. If I have the fear of losing my rank in my class, I have been standing first for the last 7, 8 years successively. And if I have the fear of losing, that means, well, I am slack in my studies. So this is the right fear. Oh, I must keep my tempo of studies. I must maintain the level of my study. I must consult good teachers. I must be polite to them. I must read good books, and I must work hard so that I can stand first again and again. Okay, even if I don't stand first, somebody else does, and I know that, well, that somebody has studied more than I have, somebody has worked more laboriously than I have, then okay, it's all right. I will try next time to restore my position as the first student of the class. So rivalry, but then healthy rivalry, competition, healthy competition. But just to stand first in the class and going against my competitor, harming him by stealing his books, or bribing the examiner so that I get better marks even when my answers have been much worse, not as good as the answers of my competitor, then nothing. Everything will spoil. And therefore, Ramarajya in its completeness not possible, but even 10% or 20% of Ramarajya would make our situations much better. Every day we have in the papers. Papers also thrive on negatives. Everywhere, advertisement, empty slogans, empty catchy words. Why should a successful cricketer be the model for everybody else? He stands in the corner in a poster or in a hoarding, and he smiles at people and asks people, "Do you use this? I use it." Okay, you use it because you like it. You use it because you have money. How can I have money? My Durga Pujo, Durga Puja. I have to celebrate my puja, and puja is celebrated not with ornament, not with expensive dresses, not by going to restaurants and buying expensive advertised recipes and all that. If I have to observe puja, I have to live within my means. I'll go to the temple, I'll go to pandals, I will have a glimpse of the deity. I will seek the deity's blessings and all that. But you can't have they advertise that no way to have puja and not to have that glow, to have puja and not to have those brands of clothes, to have puja and not to have those ornaments. And no puja, no connection between good puja and your having or not having ornaments. Your whatever dress you have, whatever clothing you can buy, it has to be neat and clean. It has to be hygienic. It has to be according to the weather. But then see, people commit theft, people commit murders, people commit committees to celebrate their puja. And many of the criminals are inspired by the advertisements. 80% of the advertisements are hollow advertisements, misleading advertisements. 80 to 90%, you can say 5 to 10% advertisements are positive and all that. And people make money. Those who are models and advertisers and cinema people, film people, they become fatter and fatter. They they don't even think of any value of money because they have stacks of money, corrupt money, bad money. And the poor, honest people or honest people, meritorious people, they can't sell their conscience. They can't be bad. And they have reasonable amount of money. And their children also are thrown into a kind of rivalry with the children of the rich people because they flaunt their watches, 5 lakh rupees worth, their bikes, their cars, and all that. And criminal mentality is developed. Criminality is, you can say, encouraged among the young people that you take your girlfriend to America and he can't take, so he doesn't deserve to be having a girlfriend like that. And why to have a girlfriend? You have friendship with people, you talk with people, you spend good time with people, but when you are educated, when you are independent economically, physically, mentally, then you marry someone of your choice or of your level and then live your life. But see, you have a class 5 student, he's very happy because he has 5 girlfriends, or a girl this girl from a family or a poor family, then what? Even the peon's son, you can say, talks about having girlfriends. And the father, peon, he is a peon, he's an orderly, and he talks with other orderly that they should know that his son has a girlfriend of all these extremely festering and extremely rotten thinkings have entered the society. And if these advertisements, advertisers, these business people, and the whole world is run by the business people. Most of the business people, they are so very bad. Sentences, they don't have any ethics. They only want to make money, and they only want to count coins and gold biscuits and gold bricks and all that. That is their only concern, to be registered as richer. Somebody, oh, last year I was having property worth 500 crore rupees, and this year 700 crore rupees. And then 5 years after, the target is that I should be at least having property worth 20,000 crore rupees. Crores and crores and crores. See, money, man's status, social status is measured by how much money that person has, how many cars he has, how many girlfriends he has, how many boyfriends he has, how reckless life he lives and nothing happens to him. He has contact with the so-called powerful people, and most of the so-called powerful people are rotten people. Because if you are powerful, you have to use your power for the construction, for the creation, for the consolidation of humanity, for the betterment of humanity. But your power is to frighten others. Your power of money is to make other people poorer. Your power of muscle is to make other people afraid of living safely. All these abuse and misuse of muscle power, money power, nexus power, all these kinds of power are worse than cancers and AIDS and COVIDs and all that. And I appeal to all the sensible people of the world, wherever they are, to be more sensible, to be more compassionate, to be more laborious, as much as, no, you don't kill yourself overworking, but you work regularly. And if you see that somebody is being victimized, you please stand by him. You please raise the alarm. You please give your voice to that man's voice, so that corrupt people, they have so much of unity. You go to buy some medicine, and the medicines shopkeeper, he gives you an expired medicine, and you point out to him, and he starts snarling at you. He starts looking at you with, you can say, extremely frightening gesture, and you withdraw. You don't even speak to anybody, let alone complaining against him to the police, because you know the policeman will accept the awards of money from that medicine suppliers or medicine sellers, and you will have only problem. You don't complain to the policeman. Why? Because in poor countries, most of the countries, corruption everywhere. Means the few people who are law-abiding, good people, they get the brunt. They get the hurt. They suffer indescribably. So sensible people, even if you are 10%, you assert yourself. And once you assert, once you assert, you can have results. You can have results, if not up to the expected level, you can have results to some extent, and gradually things can move for the betterment of the entire human community. It is therefore corruption-free, crimes-free society has to be made everywhere. And if we are, suppose, willing, if we are united, if we assert, because good people are the constructive people, creative people. They give. So those who are the givers, they can't be beggars. If you give because you have merit, you can assert that I give for everybody. I give not to some people who are, you can say, physically powerful or corrupt and all that. So this is my appeal to all the people of the world, all societies of the world, all countries of the world, all nations of different climes, that be good and make this world of ours. And before you go to the moon, or before you can say colonize other, you can say places, you love this earth where you have been, where your forefathers have been, whether you are living. You may have gone to the space for a day or two because you have lots of money. So if you have lots of money, don't fritter away that money. Let that money be used for the beautification of this world, for the solidification of this society, human society, and be happy. And make others also happy. And that way you can justify the meaning of your life. You can justify your being good. You can justify yourself as a progressive, as a law-abiding, as a decent human being. God bless us. Bye-bye.